Is fasting a spiritual discipline that you should be taking advantage of? It seems that Jesus thought you should. Hey, stay tuned for Bible study number 147, which we're calling Gloomy-Faced Fasting. Hi, this is Pastor Mark Pierce with Church Requel, and we're here on this Monday, June the 15th, back in Belleville, Ohio, downtown. A little bit cooler day today than what it was when I was here before this past Friday, but nonetheless, I'm in downtown at one of these circular benches, very close to the very center of town, the gazebo where I recorded on Friday. Let's take our Bible and turn to Matthew chapter 6, verses 16 through 18. One of the beautiful things about having a bench is that I don't have to worry about putting my Bible down. So Matthew chapter 6, beginning with verse 16. And when you fast, do not look gloomy like the hypocrites, for they disfigure their faces, that their fasting may be seen by others. Truly, I say to you, they have received their reward. But when you fast, anoint your head and wash your face, that your fasting may not be seen by others, but by your Father who is in secret. And your Father, who sees in secret, will reward you. We have to start off right at the very beginning by these words of Jesus, when you fast. You see, there's this presumption on Jesus' part that fasting would be a discipline. Jesus was not here teaching whether to fast or not to fast. He was simply talking about the right way to do it. So then we might presume that fasting should be a part of our spiritual lives. You know, there are some great reasons to fast. I sat down and just jotted down 5 that I could think of. The first reason to fast is that it really is good for health. You know, it's just far too easy to get a little soft and flabby, and I'll certainly admit to being the first one guilty of that. Many of us live to eat rather than eat to live, and you know, fasting is a way of being able to break away from that. A second reason to fast is that it is good for self-discipline. It's very easy to become self-indulgent rather than self-disciplined. We tend to deny ourselves nothing that is within our power to have or to at least pay for. Fasting is the equivalent of being able to stop those wishes or our desires to have everything become our master. A third reason to fast is that it does keep us from becoming slaves of a habit. Again, oftentimes we indulge ourselves because we find it impossible to stop. What at one time was a pleasure can become a necessity, and as you well know, a craving. Wise fasting would help us to break the chains of that kind of slavery. It helps us to remind us that our pleasures should not become our masters. It should be the other way around, right? We should master our pleasures. A fourth reason to fast is that it preserves our ability to be able to do without things. Too many of us have forgotten what it's like to do without. I mean, let's face it, how many things are there that have become a necessity to you that at one time was considered to be a luxury of life? How many of these things could you now do without? And then a fifth reason to fast is that it frankly does help to make us appreciate things a whole lot more, right? I mean, when we enjoy good things all of the time, our appetite tends to become blunted, our palate is dulled, kind of the edge that we experienced at one time is taken off of it. Once what was a sharp pleasure becomes a drug that we cannot live without. So we have to ask ourselves, are we really in appreciation mode or are we in addiction mode? Now, of those 5 reasons I just gave you, notice that only the very first one had anything to do with food. Reasons number 2 through 5 could be anything, really, that we have grown to become too dependent upon. Examples might be your car, or the internet, or the cell phone, certainly television, entertainment. And yeah, there are some foods involved too. I'll just admit to being a chocoholic. I could probably stand a little bit of fasting from chocolate and potato chips. The point here is that these reasons are a lot more about the inward spiritual aspects of our life, not just the physical health. So, how do we respond? Well, a couple of things. First of all, I'd say most of us just have to decide right off the bat to include fasting as a spiritual discipline. For far too many of us, it just isn't even an option. We just don't even think about it as being a spiritual discipline. If we think of fasting at all, oftentimes it is simply in regards to food, rather than these other things that I've just spoken about of, where's my spiritual life at and what have I grown to be dependent upon. And then once we decide that fasting is going to be part of our spiritual life, the second thing we have to focus on here is we need to know the right way and the wrong way to do it. Jesus here gives us some aspects of the wrong way. Do you see it in your Bible? He says, first of all, it's wrong to just let everybody know that you're doing it. That's not what this is supposed to be about. It's wrong to look gloomy, to be hypocrites, meaning to act in a certain way. In other words, as if I'm fasting, as if I'm, spiritually superior. And certainly then, it's wrong to bring glory to ourselves in this. It's wrong to have this attitude of, hey, look at me. I'm so spiritual. I'm so superior. Jesus says that there actually is a reward to fasting. But if we go about it, by making a big deal to others, then we have already received our reward. So what should we do? And how should we go about this fasting? If not to be gloomy-faced fasting, as the title of our talk is today, well, just like giving to the needy, just like praying, Jesus tells us that we need to practice secret agent fasting, which just happens to be the topic of Wednesday's Bible study. So you be sure to come back and we'll have another study for you again from downtown Belleville.